Hey guys, today I'd talk a bit about my experience using the Z editor. I know it's the hot thing on the block and I've been using it for a few months now, so just thought I'd share my feelings. Started using it because I saw a bunch of propaganda around. I was watching From Vim to Z, which was an article written by this dude that's just an absolute Vim demon, Vim lover, saying way switch, and I thought, you know what, if it's good enough for him, maybe it's good enough for me. Let me give it a try and see if it's really worth all the hype. To a little bit about my experience before that, I used a bit of NeoVim, bit of all the JetBrains products. I still use IntelliJ for work every day. And then, yeah, I use VS Code, obviously. Who hasn't? I think everyone that starts programming nowadays just hops straight onto the VS Code. So let's take a look at some of the good things and some of the not so good things. So starting with the good, let's open it. Everyone always says Z is super fast. VS Code's slow. It's made on Chromium technologies. Super laggy, crashes a lot. And yeah, that's true. So here I just opened up Z. It opened up pretty much instantly. And I gotta say, the rumors about the speed are definitely true. So with a repo like this, I mean, this is a small repo, but just you can see the scrolling is super fast. You can go through everything. I never have any problems switching tabs or anything like that. Go to the terminal. Can jump to function definitions. Everything just moves really quickly. So the rumors about the speed are absolutely correct. And as you can see here in this the terminal, I'm using a MacBook Air, so this is not not a beast of a machine. It's an M1 MacBook Air, a few years old now. So yeah, even on a pretty average computer like this one, I mean it is a MacBook. It does have the M1 chip, but it's not a behemoth. It costs like $1,080. So yeah, the speed is really great. Another great part about it is for the Vim users out there, the Vim motions are super smooth and fast. So say this function here, if I run a Vim macro, one thing I didn't like about IntelliJ, or I still don't like it, is that stuff like Vim macros, if you're using the Vim plugin, they run super slow. So let's run here. So it's simply QQ double D, and then we'll run that 100 times. You can see that just happens instantly. Whereas, if you do that in IntelliJ, you're probably waiting like a few seconds, like 3 seconds for that to run 100 times. Yeah, just look at that, it's buttery smooth. If you're the type of guy like me, you like all the Vim motions, you love using Vim, but you know what? Sometimes you do use the mouse. You're a bit of a normie like that. You do like having the simpler buttons to click on. I think Z might be up your alley, and it has a lot of nice, just quality of life features that you don't need to add yourself. Like has the Git commit history, Git blame right there, and a lot of stuff just comes naturally. Like the language server. Just like VS Code, you open a JavaScript file and you get all this syntax highlighting for free, and syntax hovering definitions without ever having to install it yourself. So I think it also comes with Copilot set up by default, but I don't use that, so I wouldn't know. Talking about some of the negatives, one thing is that nothing is easy to do. Like it's definitely easier than Vim when it comes to configuring stuff, but it's definitely not simple either. I'll give you an example. So one of the first things I did when I started using Z was I was just writing some basic leaker prompts like this, but it did some like super ugly formatting where like it would default the brackets to like new curly bracket in each line, which obviously should be illegal. That is just disgraceful. So I was like, oh, that's pretty easy. I'll just go into the settings, so Control Shift P, same as VS Code. Just look in the settings. Oh, there's nothing to change it there. That's all right. Maybe if you look in the formatting, there's nothing there either. And you begin to realize, so where are the settings? So actually, if you go into the settings here, you can open the default settings to see all the things that you can override. But like, this is just really not a great experience. Like, you don't know what you're looking for. Nothing's really that easy. And yeah, as suggested here, it says to go to the documentation. So you open documentation, configuring Z, and you realize, all right, to configure stuff, you have to like delve into the files and update the right settings JSON file, and it's not as simple as you hope. Like in VS Code, I think one of the best things about VS Code is that it's super easy to install extensions. It's super easy to change the settings, and that's something that I do not think is the case here. Like with that C++ example, I had to go into the language support. You have to learn that, it tells you about tree setter, blah, 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 and you have to manually create these files that point to your C++ compiler and add these functions yourself, and it's just not convenient. Like, sure, there's probably a reason for it. Sure, it's not that bad, but yeah, it's definitely not as simple as VS Code. Like even stuff like the run button. When you have a Python file in VS Code, there's a run button. You click it and it runs the file. Like as far as I know, that doesn't exist here. I mean, maybe there's a plugin or something for it, but yeah, things are not as simple. But aside from that, that's really the only major complaint I have about Zed. Oh yeah, another thing is when I was trying to install the language server for Odin, it just was not easy at all. Like, yeah, the installation is not the easiest part, and the documentations I find are not great. Like, oftentimes, like, yeah, update a file, and you're like, what file? Yeah, don't really recommend it too much. That being said, everything else I've absolutely loved about Zed. Like, I love the snappiness, the speed. It looks nice, feels nice. I recommend it. Recommend it. Thanks for watching.